running for Kansas governor. He is going to be actually in studio.
All right.
What can you tell me about this guy?
Not a lot.
I've noticed that from his
Yes.
press. You don't know anything about this guy.
And I can tell you there was a second person formally announced now running for governor as well.
Is that Wink Hartman?
Wink Hartman announced officially, so maybe you could get him in here too.
What do you think of that, Israel?
Totally.
Wink Hartman.
Wink.
Yeah.
He's running for governor.
Running for governor.
I mean,
Anything's
it's
possible.
just kind of I don't trust men. I don't trust men named Sandy or Wink for some reason. I just I don't know. It just is kind of weird. But all right.
Wink would kill you if he heard you say
But
that.
we're talking about the Republic. This is all on the Republican side. Is that
Yes,
is that what you're
yes,
saying?
they're both Republicans, which Andy in the state of Kansas, I don't know if it's safe to be a Republican running in the governor's race next time.
Oh, it's going to be safe. It's going to be great. It's they're trying to put up the facade with the media right now about the Democrats and how they're going to take the governorship. It's not going to happen. It's a solid Republican state. It's going to stay that way. And I'm a big fan of Wink Hartman. I'm not going to endorse or anything from any candidate because I don't know the other candidate. But just from knowing Wink, he used to be very frequently on the KQAM airwaves here in Wichita. Solid Republican, solid conservative, and he's got some great ideas. So that's a solid candidate in the ring right now.
Now, tonight, gentlemen, let's talk about the first 4 weeks of Donald Trump and how the United States is running. First of all, there's been a lot of I'll start with Utah. There's been a lot of scandals.
Right.
Flynn's gone. They're trying to brand Trump a Russian agent now.
The Secretary of Labor pulled himself out of the
Yes.
It's been, I would say probably for Andy also, boy, my show it's not been hard to find things to talk about on the radio. I'll tell you that. For better or for worse, I'm one of those that was on the record, not a big Trump guy, also not a big Hillary guy, but I'm one of those that wants to give Donald Trump a chance. He's our president. If he succeeds, the country succeeds. So I'm wanting to give him a chance. I will tell you, though, it becomes harder and harder as things progress.
As the day goes by. Andy, you're in the same boat as Todd. You don't have to worry about not having material.
No, you're right. I mean, the material kind of feeds for itself here. I will say, though, I'm with you. I was very critical of Trump. I was a Ted Cruz guy. I was never on that Never Trump bandwagon. But since he's been in office, I know that they're trying to create these scandals. His picks for the secretaries have been phenomenal, in my opinion. What he's been trying to do to sign the executive orders to slash Obamacare, to get rid of the punishment on your taxes at the end of the year, to try and deregulate the Environmental Protection Agency. Betsy DeVos to start slashing the Department of Education. In my opinion, this is a solid conservative cabinet here that's even more conservative than Ronald Reagan. I think we're on a really good track here.
Israel, I'm just going to light you up and let you go. What do you think?
I'm not. Andy, you are very much entitled to your opinions. It's Black History Month. That's my only statement. Now, I don't know if it was real news or fake news, but I seen an article that said Trump wasn't Jesus after all. And so I'm kind of on that bandwagon right now.
Well, we're not supposed to have a Jesus. I mean, he's only one cog in the machine. It's the entire administration and the entire staff.
I think if you go back and watch the other episodes, like the episode we did in October, you guys pretty much branded him the Messiah before he got in the office. In his first 100 days, he's going to walk on water. He's going to feed 10,000 people with grapes and a handful of cheese, and it's going to be, a big jamboree. I guess we ought to give him a chance to, mess up like every other president has. But, the most interesting thing for me has been how quiet the Black community has been, which I actually think is kind of a good thing. I don't think that this is our fight. It's kind of funny to me to see how mad white people were. And I was like blown away by the women's march against Trump. I'm like, it was predominantly a white crowd of white women, and 50% of white women voted for him. I'm like, listen, someone voted for this guy, but now they're in the parade going against him, and I just think it's hilarious to me. So that's my take on it. He never ceases to amaze me. He's a hilarious guy. DJ, if you're listening, You're funny. That's what I call it.
Well, Ross, give us your opinion on this, because I know that
Well,
you've been watching all the different things he's been doing.
yes, as close as I can, and I'm kind of in agreement with Todd there that we need to give the guy some kind of chance. It's kind of hard to give him a blind chance, and he does some sort of weird things here, but I'm still waiting for the unraveling of what's going to happen, what's going to be his policy, his true policy on this, and this. Is he going to crack down on recreational and or medical marijuana? That, I think is like now 28, maybe 30 states. No, I think it's 29 states now that have some form of legal of marijuana. Because that's a big driver of our economy in my local area here in Pueblo, Colorado. So that's kind of waited, I'm waiting with bated breath to see what's going to happen there. Yeah, and as for the Department of Education there, Andy, we don't need a Department of Education to block grant money to the states for education. I mean,
you guys forget that lady has
doesn't that make a lot more sense? But that's not neither here nor there for another Reagan-esque type discussion. But whatever. A rocky start. I'm still cheering for the guy and hoping the best for him.
Let me chime in here for a second here, because you made an interesting point about his policies and what he's going to stand for, and I agree to an extent. But the nice part that I like about him is that being that piece of the cog in the entire machine here, he doesn't necessarily have to have a policy decision on all that. He's done very good at delegating, as he has as a business guy, to choose the right people to do the job for them, so he doesn't have to micromanage it. When it comes to the marijuana thing, you're right, that is going to be a concerning thing for the state of Colorado and the other states that did legalize it, because Jeff Sessions, as Attorney General, has come out and said that he's going to enforce for marijuana law. So that might go against a lot of those states. Even in Kansas here, where we're talking about legalizing hemp, and the bill that's on the state legislature right now to legalize recreational marijuana, which is not going to go anywhere. But he's got the people in place. He's got Jeff Sessions. He's got Mike Pompeo. He's got Betsy DeVos. He's got he's got the people to know what they're doing on their own ends, so that way he doesn't have to delegate it, micromanage it. He knows that they have the agenda that he agrees with, and let them do their thing.
But
and Mike Pompeo, I mean, he's probably the smartest Kansan that could ever be in Washington right now.
Absolutely.
So I'm cheering hard for him.
But it seems to me Donald Trump is a micromanager. Will he let these people do their thing, or are they just simply doing his bidding?
Well, I hope
is that too bad? I mean, yeah, Napoleon and Hitler were both micromanagers, and look what happened to both of them. But is that so bad? I mean, I don't know. Maybe we'll see. We'll have to see. You're right. That's something that I'm holding my breath on too, there, Todd.
Now, Israel, you laughed when Andy brought up Pompeo. What is?
I didn't laugh, man. It was his water, man. His water.
Israel, chime in here. I want to hear your point of view. Chime in here.
It bothers me that the lady who is over the head of education has never been in public school.
And I'm in agreement with you about that.
Neither is the previous one, though. Neither the previous Department of Education secretary was a politician that's been in public life all his life. He's never been in education either.
Yeah. I'm not saying that she can't do a good job. I'm sure she's, capable. I mean, I once read a story about Henry Ford, how he sued some guy for liability because the guy kept saying he was dumb. So he's in trial and they're asking Henry Ford all these questions, and Henry Ford replies to them, I don't have to know everything, because at a button I can go get whoever I want to tell me whatever I want. So it can be one of those situations where you put the right people around you and get the information that you need. But my thing is, the education system in general just needs to be reformed altogether. It's just, I think it's failing. I think it's top heavy, and our students are learning. And I'm a person who works in, the school district, and we're failing our kids. So if they're not coming up with new ideas, it's just the same old, and it's just, whatever. And some other stuff.
Ross.
I hope he doesn't get caught up in too much of the conservative social stuff. Yes, the fiscal responsibility sort of things and the tax cutting and stuff, I'm all for. But if it all bogs down into, trying to defund Planned Parenthood and trying to fight the abortion issue, and then going back and
Should
trying to
absolutely fight the abortion
LGBT,
issue.
I mean, those are kind of decided issues, and
Listen.
maybe we shouldn't waste our time on that.
When you brought up abortion, and I say a woman has the right to do whatever she wants. That's fine, but it does concern me that so many Planned Parenthoods are in predominantly minority communities, and over 50% of Black births are ending in abortion. So that does concern me. So I wouldn't be mad about them not funding that again.
You're absolutely right. The
It's really a
African
good
American
point.
community has the lion's share of abortion, and it's just so unfortunate.
I mean, you can't allocate money for Black abortions too. You just got to call them and say, hey.
You just pick up the horn and call them.
On the inside, that's all.
Andy,
we got to remember too. Israel. I mean, you bring up a good point. The entire purpose when Planned Parenthood was originally founded was to control the Black population. That was the entire purpose of Planned Parenthood and the idea of abortion. So you know what? You're right. If we actually work on the woman has a right to choose, and that's where social conservatives have an issue explaining their point. Is that the women have the right to choose? It's just before whether they decide whether they find out they're pregnant. The choice is there before. Now we have to realize in society that we have an active responsibility based on the actions that we choose from. And Planned Parenthood, it should be up to a state to decide what they want to do with it or not. And because of the fact that Planned Parenthood was founded predominantly for the reason to control the Black population, is one of those reasons why Republicans and conservatives are strongly, adamantly against Planned Parenthood.
And I've just heard a fresh statistic on this that over the last 10 years, the abortion rate has been going down and down and down, not drastically, but slowly. And they say it's more because, those individual states are becoming more strict with their abortion laws. Andy, are you up on that?
I mean, I've seen it. I don't know the details of it, but I have seen that it's decreased a little bit because of that, because it's getting more difficult because of the scandals that came out about them selling the organs left and right. So even with the idea of whether it's the right for an abortion or not, I mean, people are second guessing it and thinking twice before they actually go and do it. So we're seeing the small decrease. But if we cut it directly from the federal government, we decide it's left up to the states to make their own prerogative on there, then we could make some really good traction on it.
Well,
Andy, I commend you for for knowing that and being not afraid to say that.
I mean, it's the truth, and I mean, people need to say that a lot louder because when you mention that to a lot of left-wing progressives about the idea of Planned Parenthood controlling the Black population, when the Democrats predominantly are about the social issues and minority groups, they don't like that stat very much, and they get a little.
They
want to go on to something else. That's for sure.
Well, something else that I want to get everybody's thoughts on is this whole Obamacare healthcare situation. They got in there. These Republicans got in there, and all of a sudden, we're going to repeal it. It's gone. It's gone on day one.
Right?
Yesterday, I read, well, they don't know if they're going to be able to do anything about it. I don't care if they do something about it or they don't do something about it. I'm just sick of the Republicans campaigning on the fact, I'm going to get in there and do something about it. Then once they won, they're like,
It's simple. Just fix what's wrong with it.
Yeah.
You don't have to scrap the whole thing.
Yeah.
Some of it's good. Some of it's not good. What's not good, work on it and make it good.
Todd,
No.
I'm so disappointed in you.
But it's just so fundamentally.
Hold on, Ross. Give me just a second.
Go ahead. Yeah, please go.
How dare you sit here and use logic like that?
Right, yeah.
Why would you ever use a logical solution? Don't you know that's like antiquity?
Dare him, he's a journalist.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like using reason and logic. If you don't stop, you're going to make people think for themselves, and
And we can't have that.
Can't
can we?
have that. Ross, go.
Sorry, Ross, I had to get on my soapbox.
No, I lost my train. Go ahead, Andy. You take it.
Well, I would disagree in the sense that I think we do need to repeal every word of it, go back to what we had before. We can still have, we're not saying that we don't want any government mandates whatsoever. I do agree that we need government mandates for pre-existing conditions and that sort of thing. But the most easiest thing to do here, and I'm really upset because the Republicans have an opportunity to fix a lot of things, and if they falter on this, the main reason why they got the supermajority and the presidency and the Democrats lost over 1,000 seats in this election like what happened, the big focus was to repeal Obamacare. If they don't, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. We need to repeal it to go back to what we had before, create the mandate for pre-existing conditions, and then open up the states to allow more competition from the insurance companies, which will drive down the prices, drive up the quality, just like it does anytime there's more competition in a market, and then more people have access to the insurance.
You're absolutely right, Andy, and I got my train of thought again. Yes, the whole thing right now is fundamentally flawed. It just doesn't work. The young people are not there. We're supposed to be forced to, buy insurance to ultimately pay for the insurance cost of older people who would actually use the healthcare system. Well, that hasn't worked out, and it just won't. The actuarial process of the whole thing is just too flawed. So you're right, Andy. It has to be totally scrapped. Just go back to what it was before. We could add so many good things like being able to buy over state lines, which has always been forbidden in the past, and various other things, health savings accounts, and a variety of other things that would, at least it would be and it would be glorious for me if we go back to like 2011 levels of what healthcare was.
Well,
'Cause,
Todd,
boy, it's a nightmare for
we
me
can't.
now.
Can we really go back to what was there? Because isn't that just gone?
It's hard to put toothpaste back in the tube once you've squirted
Yeah.
it out. Because of where
You just
we're
said
at
it was
now.
just fix it. Just fix it.
Well, there's some
Look,
parts
the-
of it
the
that are
easiest-
okay.
Yeah. I just, Andy's point is we just go back to what was there. But I don't think that exists anymore. So
Well,
it's like,
the easiest thing to do is to first define what a tax is. If we define what an actual tax is that it's providing money to the government to provide a service. The reason that Obamacare actually was constitutional in the courts was saying that the tax to punish individuals when they didn't carry insurance was a tax, therefore it fell under the Commerce Clause. If we define what a tax is, and it's actually to provide a service, not to punish an individual for not providing or not getting into a service, then that entire mandate of punishing someone would go away, and then we could start backtracking a little bit and put in the right mandates and allow more competition. But the biggest flaw of this right now is saying, hey, you didn't buy insurance this year, therefore we're going to tax you, we're going to fine you, we're going to penalize you, and we're going to raise that penalty. And then all of a sudden, it's what's the point of either getting insurance or not getting insurance? It doesn't matter. You're going to be paying out the wazoo to go to the federal government.
But you've got to have something in place. You can't just drop
see, this
everybody's
is what
insurance
I'm
universally.
Yeah. This is
Well,
what I'm trying to figure out because
again,
I understand fixing the issues, but like you're saying, Todd, you just can't go, oh, we're done.
well,
Somebody educate me or help me on this.
the
Because-
thing is, we're trying to put, old wine in new wineskins. It's too fermented. You can't do it. Doesn't work. You just got to do something different. In all areas, we need to have more ingenuity. See, the thing that makes America great is our ingenuity, is our ability to think and work through large situations that other countries haven't been able to. And part of that is the diverse culture that we come from. If we would put our minds together, we could come up with a workable solution. You can't call your country the best if you don't take care of your citizens like you should. There's certain levels and measures that you use to gauge how your country is doing. How do you treat your children? How do you treat your poor? How do you treat your elderly? It's not a matter of finances, of financing it, even if it was universal health care. It's not a matter of that. It's a matter of politics and allocating the proper the proper amount of money to this issue. It's not a big enough issue anymore, which is really sad to me because you have all of our elders that we've learned so much that built the country that we grown up in. And when they get old, what do we do for them? What type of respect do we show them? I met this guy the other day. He's walking down with a World War II vet. He has his, jacket on, or not World War II, but Vietnam. He has his jacket on. He's proud. He's also pulling his air tank behind him, and he's at the gas station. He's asking me, can I have some change so I can do whatever? Come on, really? Like, we can't think past that. Like, that needs to be the basis of it altogether. Like, we have the greatest minds, we have the greatest technology in the greatest country, and we still can't get something done. Sometimes we're so smart that we're dumb. And that's
every piece of innovation, as you mentioned, that's been created here is because of the private sector and because of capitalism being able to find that best product at the best price and the best quality for the consumer. When we try and universalize it through the government, then we're going to lose that quality. We're going to lose that innovation.
I don't think so. I'm not saying that you should take away people's right to private care. If you have the money, you can afford private care, by all means, but there still should be a standard in which our health care system is at. Because at the end of the day, if you don't have healthy people, then you don't have a country to begin with.
Well, sure. No, and you're right. And there is a program, and I mean, Medicaid covers the disabled and the elderly and the people who can't afford it. But having that minimized to the point to where the government option does not affect the market to drive the prices up, then more people are actually going to be able to fall under the best care of the private insurance before they have to default go into the Medicaid.
Andy, with all due respect, you're correct with what you're saying in that aspect, but this is a multi-tier problem. It's not only with the government, it's not only with the private sector, but it's multifaceted. You know what I mean? It's partly the fact that when you go to the doctor's office and you get a shot, this serum that cost them $30, they charge you $135 for. This syringe that you can go to Walgreens and get a pack of them for $8 or $9, they charge you $20 for that. The exorbitant fees from that, from insurance and all this other stuff, that's what we need to talk about. If you listen, I've had 2 surgeries in the last 2 years because I had an umbilical hernia and I had a sexy reduction because I was too sexy. Now, when I went through this GE machine, it scanned me, right? This GE machine, let's say it cost $100,000, right? Well, they charge me $1,500 just to scan me. How many people do they scan in a week? This is a renewable device that they can reuse, but yet they charge us all $1,500 every time. That's the issue that we're not talking about. You shouldn't go into debt because you're sick. No one should ever have to make the choice. Do I go get health care? Do I go to the doctor, or do I pay my light bill? We're not even thinking on the right level at all. Our priorities are totally messed up in the country. No one wants to say that. I think DJ was trying to say it, but he didn't quite get around to it. In my opinion, we just need fresh ideas altogether. If we're going to progress, if we're going to continue to be great, if we're still going to be the leader of the world, we have to think in new ways. It was because we thought in new ways in the first place that separated us from the pack from everybody else. That and cheap labor from blacks and immigrants. But other than that, you get my point. So we need to start just thinking differently altogether. There should be a state-sponsored hospital, and then there should be a private hospital. If you can afford to go to the private hospital, fine. Why doesn't the government pay our brightest minds to go to law or medical school and send them to be the doctor? You go to medical school, you come work in the state hospital, we'll get rid of your student loans, and then you could go work in the private sector if you want to.
Yep.
That's something that's workable, that's doable. If you can afford it, go get it. If not, here's something that's still affordable or available to you.
Well, and that's something that you, I want to get your thoughts on, Todd, and everybody else here. Healthcare is a huge problem because we see, like here in Salina, ComCare popping up. You see Grace Med down there at Wichita. You see some of these places, and it's like, if we didn't have a medical problem, why would all these, 24-hour places or whatever just be popping up out of nowhere? And,
that's only
why do we have this if the healthcare is fine?
Well, because we're being fed poison too. No one wants to talk about
that too.
We're being fed poison and being sick. And the healthcare industry is to make money, not to make you healthy. That's why they only deal with symptoms and not the real issue. But we don't talk about that. We say it's Obamacare, it's healthcare premiums. No, you eat trash every time you go to a store. Congress actually banned aluminum foil at one time, and now it's what all of our food comes in. That's a true statement. Go look it up. Now we eat all of our vegetables and canned goods out of aluminum that was once banned because it was known to be toxic.
Some
No
of us
one
wear
wants
it
to
on our
talk about
heads.
that.
That's right.
Sorry, Ty.
I interviewed. Before we went on the air. I was talking about an interview that I did with the professional wrestler Road Warrior Animal a couple weeks ago in Russell, Kansas, and he was all about all the tinfoil hat stuff. And some of that. What I think is so strange about that is this is like a complete side issue, but. Some of that stuff has a little thin veil of truth, and then all of a sudden everybody's, well, everything must be true then. It's like, no, not all that. I guess that'll transition me into my next topic here with you guys.
Sorry, guys.
I'm going to sound like Alex Jones when I say this, which I don't know. I need to be pounding the desk more. Which would you rather have? Would you rather have the Democrats who want to go bomb Russia, or would you rather have the neoconservatives that want to go bomb Iran? At this point, I'm like, I don't know. It's a gimme. Why do we have to go bomb anybody?
Can't we all just get along?
Well,
This
I don't
is, and on a serious vein of that, I
because
mean,
because right now,
Donald
it's the
Trump is yet
Russians'
to be-
fault. And
I
then
mean,
when
he's
Bush was
kind
in
of-
there, it's Iran's fault. Let's go get Iran. I'm like, why do we got to mess with anybody? Just leave everybody alone. But go ahead,
Well,
Ross.
both Iran and North Korea have kind of tested Trump already. So
And Russia's doing it right
and
now.
he hadn't,
Yes.
he hadn't pressed the button. So
Putin and Little Kim are causing
Yes.
not to be
gosh,
confused with
yes.
the rapper Little Kim, but
And it'll be
I did that
interesting to
solely
see-
for our director and your benefit, Israel, because you're the only two that are going to get that reference. Because I doubt Todd has any Little Kim CDs in his car.
I know exactly who.
Oh, you know who
I'm
Little
a
Kim
fan.
is. Okay.
I'm a weird guy. I like a little bit of
A weird
everything.
guy, a little bit of everything.
Hey,
Look at that. Todd
hey,
Pitcher,
I know
hip hop
exactly who that
fan.
is.
That's awesome. We learned something tonight.
I won't say it on air, but that should be an indication I was correct in his name change. He knows who Little Kim is.
But I mean, Andy, which would you rather have? Hillary, who wanted to go start World War III with Russia, or the people that are advising Trump now going, well, let's go start World War III with Iran?
Well, I don't say that we just go out and just start a war here just because we don't like somebody.
Well, yeah.
But as Republicans and conservatives, I would say that we eliminate any threat where they have any kind of beef against it. If they try to threaten the United States, we're going to contain them. Obama said numerous times while he was in office that ISIS is contained, when we can evidently see that they're not contained, and we need to do something about it. Kudos to Russia, which is why Trump got so much heat for this, because he said, well, he's a great leader. We don't agree with him. He's a KGB communist, and we don't like his policies and the way he treats his people, but he's a strong leader who is not bullied, and we got to respect that, whether we like him or not. So I say right now, when it comes to the war with ISIS, that an enemy of our enemy is our friend right now in that sense. Our terms with Russia is not good at all, and I don't think we're going to go to war with them. But if they're going to be looking for a fight, we want to keep the fight over there rather than coming over here. It's not going to be one of those. I know that you said this, but I kind of chuckle with the if you leave them alone, we'll leave us alone sort of thing, and we'll just leave each other alone and we'll be happy-go-lucky kind of thing. It's an ideological war where they disagree with our philosophies here. They disagree with our religion. They disagree with the basic liberties that we enjoy here, which is why they hate us so much. And if they hate us to that extent, we have to do something about it before they find a way to attack us here. And that's why we need to keep the front over there.
Ross?
Yeah, fortunately, we're yet to see a major terrorist act really in the world, and I hate to be the purveyor of what's to come, but I'm pretty sure in this first administration there's going to be one. So we'll see what happens there, whether it happens over here or there, or how the administration responds to it, or what goes on. But that's a big, holding my breath for is what's going to happen with Russia. I know there's lots of, potential tampering there, and backhanded deals or whatever might be going on, but what is going to happen? Does Trump really want to get along with them, or I'm holding my breath on that one. It's a little nerve-wracking, but hopefully, I think Trump is a pretty reasonable guy. So hopefully he'll do reasonable things. I know, lots of people would disagree with that, but
Israel, what do you
Ross.
make of all this?
From a lot of perspectives, part of me says people just need to be bombed. It's just what happens, And then, how else?
Well, that was ISIS's. Andy brings up the ISIS guys.
It's trickled down.
They bombed Brussels because Van Damme went on TV and talked smack on them.
I'm going to say this.
It's the weirdest thing in the world.
It's trickled down bombing economics. If you bomb enough, then we can go in there and take over the economy. Then I can get Jordans for $40 instead of like $140. So that part I'm okay with, but
it's not make America great again. It's make your shoes great again.
You know what I mean? You got to look fresh when you're, the imperial person. When you got to look good being the imperial power. You can't go in there, with like Kmart shoes on. You got to have the best shoes when you're kicking butt all over the globe. Everyone knows that. Now, I don't know if it's fake news or not, but I heard that Putin said that the best thing that ever came out of America was Tupac. So right there, I'm already with the guy. But
and by the way, I know who that is.
See, look at this. That is awesome. Now,
let me finish, Jig.
Go ahead, jump in there, and then I want to go ahead and finish what you were saying.
If you keep doing the same things, you're going to keep getting the same results.
Yes.
And we've been doing the same thing in our foreign policy for years around the globe, playing the police, the moral police, and we have really no reason to try to be the morale police. We should really police our own selves, you know what I mean? And the fact that we have all this technology that we do and we've progressed and we have all these things that we still have to resort to young men and women giving their lives for violence just blows me away. I mean, even Andy and Ross, who, probably don't agree with most of what I say, I don't want to bomb these guys. I just want to dominate them in conversation. We just need to have more dominant conversations. That's it. We got to do better, man. It's sad, man. It's sad.
You have to remember 8 years ago, Obama was coming into office with daily bombing raids. And
yes,
Trump
the guy
really
who won a Peace Prize.
It's the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we do. I mean, how about just cutting it out, guys? Let's play nice. That's it. Play nice.
Well,
I mean, it's kind of hard when there's people that are truly out to kill us. I mean, after a 9/11 and
who?
Anybody in the U.S. just and it doesn't matter our I mean, even moderate. It's weird. The weird thing about ISIS, the ones who are threatened the most are moderate Muslims. I mean, though, yes, they want to kill the Jew and kill the white man and kill the Christian and all.
But they never said kill the black man. Just for the record, when they crash planes in the town,
it depends if you agree with it or not.
It ain't like Brooklyn or Queens and crash no planes because, for me, as an African American, like blacks are American when it's convenient. When it comes to terrorism and everybody wants to kill us, but anything other than that, it's like it's us and you. So the black community's take on it, and what I've heard, and from my own community, is like, that's not really our war. Even Mahmoud Ahmadinejad from Iran, and I hope I pronounce his name correct. Even Little Kim, as you called them, they came out and made public statements. Even Russia have came out and made public statements like, yo, listen, we understand, how does America make these human rights claims when we know how the African American is being treated in our country? So our take on it is a little bit different. I don't have a problem with the Muslim guy. No, I don't want him blowing stuff up over here. I really don't. But he does have a right to, live peacefully in his own country. After all, we're over in the Middle East. They're not over here. They don't have any bases over in, Tennessee or wherever, but we do have bases over there. So this is a whole different issue for the black community. And I feel like at this time, the black community is kind of saying, you know what, we're going to kind of take this one out. We're going to sit this one out. You guys figure it out, and after you figure it out, then we'll go from there. Because the contributions that we made to the country prior to that haven't been acknowledged unless it's convenient. So what I'm saying is, I went to Wichita State that has a high number because of the engineering department of Middle Eastern people or whatever. And when they come over here and they say, I want to date American or I want to live like American, they're talking about white Americans. They're not talking about blacks. They're not talking about minorities. So globally, it's the same way. When you think of America, you think of the white male. You don't think of everybody else. So their beef is with that, not with us. And I think that that's the difference. So although we're here together, I don't think that their anger is towards us. Matter of fact, I seen reports that ISIS was trying to recruit black people in St. Louis during the Ferguson situation. So, yeah, I don't know. What do you make of it?
Andy,
I'd like to respond because I don't like to see things as divided communities. I see us as United States Americans, as citizens where we live together. And when we talk about dominating them with conversation, there are just some people that don't want to have a conversation. They are ideologically driven. They want to destroy, and they don't look at skin color. They were trying to recruit women as well. You see how many high school girls that have gone over there to travel, or
there's a whole rant I could get into about women wanting to do weird things and terrorism being one of them. But go ahead.
See, well, you're right. I mean, they will recruit anybody. The reason they were in Ferguson trying to recruit is because people were angry and they were very emotional at that time, and that's what they use. That's how they brainwash people to become extremists. And there's differences between moderate Muslims that are the Reform Muslims that just want to be peaceful, and there are the ideologically driven extremists that take a few pieces of the scripture of the Quran and use it as their jihad to go against the infidel, because anybody who does not praise the Allah is an infidel, and they want to destroy that.
Is that any different?
That color, in my opinion.
Is that any different than hallelujah past the ammunition? Isn't that using, your religion for a murderous cause? That's the whole thing. They're no different than us. Like, if you're a Middle Eastern kid and you see these ships roll up and they have American flags, me and you, we might think it's patriotic and put our hands over our heart and celebrate it. But to this guy, this ship just bombed half of his town.
Yeah.
He does feel the same way about it. So he's over on his Skype show saying that these Americans are beasts and, they're ideological. And if we're not Christians, then they don't care. And it's all relative. That's the point that we got to get to, and why we have to think differently, because before you're Muslim, before you're American, before you're Middle Eastern, you're a human being. And we don't have the people in power who think like that. The one thing that I have against DJ is that as a business person, I think he's great. And as a business person, no one could deny that. But the thing that business does is it doesn't personalize things. It's just a number. It's just a system to get to a bottom line. It doesn't factor in the human factor. So these people, notice I said people, become 200,000 troops died. They become 300,000 troops died, and not little Johnny, not your friend from across the street, not your brother, not whatever. When you think about it like that, then it's not so easy to just send people off like, hey, yo, go shoot these guns and kill these people. You know what I mean? But we don't think like that. We allow people who will never go to war, who will never send their own children to war, to send us to war. And they hype us up every time. And we're just bloodthirsty. Like, let's kill. It's great for America because we've been lucky enough to not have conflicts on our soil like some of these other places. But I guarantee you, if me or you or any of us lived in an environment that meant that a foreign country was in our neighborhood every day policing it, we wouldn't feel the same way about things as we do now. It's great to be Mike Tyson when you're winning, not so much when, Buster Douglas knocks you out.
That's a good way to put it.
That's a good way to put it, Israel. Andy, go ahead.
I got to disagree a little bit, though, because I've talked to many soldiers and many sergeants and many people that were over there, and the communities accept us. They want the help because they know that they've been bullied, that they've been blackmailed, and that the extremists in the area that control the government, that control the power over there, that control the money, that control the guns, they're living in their homes. They're raiding whatever they want to out of these families' homes. And they know that, and they're scared to death. And when they see the American soldiers, they're happy. I was talking to one of the staff sergeants that made the movie American or Citizen Soldier a few months ago. If you guys remember that, the documentary on some of the missions out there. And he was talking about they would walk into the community and the kids would run up to them and talk and play and have a great time and use them because they loved them there, because they were scared to death about the people that were in control of those areas, and they would be the ones that would actually give them the most intel, pointing out where the guys were holed up that were the bad guys trying to harm not only the American soldiers, but the community members as well.
Well, I think that the people who join the Army, join the military services, are not nefarious people. They're not evil people. They're just misled by people who have a bigger agenda that they're not privy to. That's my point. So you have good, decent people who care, and they think they're doing a righteous thing. They think they're doing a righteous cause, but there's so much more that comes after that we don't even talk about. Like, not only the physical devastation to the areas where these conflicts, but the economic devastation that happens, because after there's a conflict that goes on, guess what happens? We bring in humanitarian aid, right? So we bring in pounds and pounds and pounds of rice. Now this guy who was a local rice producer can't compete with that. So now he's out of a job, right? Now his family can't eat unless they're eating this rice that everybody's fighting over. Those are the impacts that we don't think about because we don't think things out. They only sound good on paper. So I don't understand why a country that can make so many great things, so many contributions, can't just stop and think with some logic, just a little bit. Todd did it tonight. So I'm sure if you got, hundreds of people together, why don't we have think tanks? Why don't we invest in the human spirit? Why don't we invest in positive things? Why don't we send him? And this is, I got on my soapbox again because that's what I do. But Andy, the thing that why I disagree with you about what you said is because I lost my train of thought. The reason why I disagree with you, man, is again, man, it's not a righteous cause like that. To me, like, I don't know. It's kind of patriotic rhetoric.
I think there was an original righteous cause, but I think that you're right that the longer we were over there for some wrong reasons and didn't admit some of the reasons, that we did lose the vision and the light at the end of the tunnel. We did lose what we were fighting for a lot of times, which is why we're still over there. And we're in a conflict where we don't see an out. I do see a purpose and a need for it. I just think that we kind of lost our way on why we're fighting what we're fighting for.
Well, why don't we call it, instead of the defense department, why don't we call it the offense department? Because defense means to protect, right? Like, how are you protecting if you're at someone else's house? If me and you get in a fight, Andy, if we're in the street, that's a neutral place, right? Now, if I come to your house, then I'm the aggressor then, right?
Sure.
I mean, just
I'm just wondering, to bring this a little bit back to Donald Trump, to DJ there.
DJ?
Well, you said it.
That's what I call him when I talk to him. I said, DJ,
okay.
What's happening, man?
There will be a time, it's the president that interjects power, particularly military power, the use of our Navy, going in and doing strikes and so forth. He has yet to do that, and foreign policy issues, particularly the military issues, I don't know what to think. I mean, China certainly has taken a lot of steps in the last 8 years, and Obama's done nothing to.
What can he
are
do
they wanting to take over the South China Sea? I don't know. What will we do?
I mean, do you escalate it? Ross?
I don't know. Well, that'll be up to Donald Trump to DJ. I mean, I'm not saying that we should escalate something like that, but
calling him DJ.
Things could explode anywhere in the world, whether it be Mideast, Iran or North Korea or, Southeast Asia around the Philippines, South China Sea.
Conflicts are definitely going to happen, but I think if you've studied any history, we all know what, comes of warlike cultures. What the end result is, like what can really be expected of it, because again, even Mike Tyson had his day. Yeah, that's not something I want to have. If you have the opportunity if you have the opportunity to change directions and do something different, why not do it? See, part of the reason why America has to have so many conflicts is because it keeps up so much crap. It's like the guy in the neighborhood who's fighting everybody. Yeah, everybody's scared of him now until one day someone knocks him out. Then everybody wants to fight the guy. You know what I mean? When, in fact, if he was just more kind to begin with, he would actually have friends and people wouldn't dislike him. Like we just should mind our own business.
Did you just quote the storyline from the movie Friday?
You caught that.
With Tom Tiny Lester's Devo and stealing the bicycles and everything. Now,
I'm really fearful for our future.
You're sharp, Jiggy.
final topic here, and we'll start with Todd on this. With all of the people, like you mentioned earlier, the one person who took themselves out of the mix, you've got Michael Flynn leaving. Poor Kellyanne Conway, you see her on TV, she just looks like she wants to go home. She's just so tired, she wants to go home. You hear reports of everybody in the White House is just tired because he's going 24 hours a day. He doesn't have it, like with Obama, when he had his family there, he'd go upstairs at the end of the day. Trump doesn't have his family there, so he's going 24 hours a day. Can he last the 4 years, or is he going to just peter out at some point and be like, I'm done.
No,
this is
go
over.
ahead,
I'm
Todd.
going home.
Your turn, Todd.
At this pace, absolutely not can he last 4 years. No human being can, I don't think.
Because at one
It's
point,
go.
at one point last week, I heard that he wanted to go in and fire a whole bunch of other people, just get rid of them, and somebody invoked something called the Hatch Act, to where they are considered public servants. I don't really know all the details on that, but he's going. And I'm like, we're 4 weeks in. We're not 4 years in yet.
This is a marathon, not a sprint.
Yes. So
My take on this is Donald Trump, he does no drugs whatsoever. He doesn't drink or anything. The action is the game. And the more, the better. He's like a diet pill popper or something. He has boundless energy that way, and he will just go and go and go. Yeah, and like you say, he's that micromanager type, and he'll stay up 18 hours a day and take care of the details. So expect it, I would think.
Andy, do you think he's going to be able to last, or do you think at some point somebody's going to sit him down and say, you got to pace yourself, bud?
No. This is the way he ran his business. He's a type A personality, which honestly to me is refreshing. I want someone who says, you know what, we're not going to wait around. We're not going to wait for the walls to be built up, for the back and forth. Let's just get her done. He's a business guy. He wants to get a business deal done. They were talking about that even during the primary campaigns, where his campaigners were having a tough time keeping up with him because he is go-go. All that. That's just his personality. That's who he is. And to me, I think it's refreshing because he has an agenda. He has a goal. He promised the American people on the campaign trail he's going to do something, and he's working day in and day out to get it done. I think it's better than hearing about a president on vacation every 2 weeks.
Now, Sean, Israel,
Is that better? Yes.
wrap this topic up here, and then we'll wrap everything up for the evening.
He scares me. The fact that he's working around the clock, because I'm sure it's like a pinky in the brain situation. Like, what are you doing tonight, DJ? I'm going to take over the world. Like, you know what I mean? That type of thing. Of course, no one can really, you know what I mean? No one can really, go 24 hours. Like, I don't know. Ross, I'm not so sure about the drug-free thing. I mean, I don't know. That could be fake news.
Alternative fact.
Yes.
Alternative fact.
Yes.
Yeah.
I really sincerely hope that he can do what he says. You know what I mean? If he does a fourth of what he says, I'd be surprised, but I'll commend him. I hope mainly that he keeps his promises to African American community, because I need my 40 acres and a mule. Now, my 48 acres.
Well, as we wrap up here, Andy, give me your final thoughts and where we can catch you on the radio and everything else.
Oh, sure. Well, I appreciate the invite. It's always fun to chat with you guys. That's a blast to be able to do that. I think we're in a good position. I think we're moving in the right direction at the federal level. I think we have potential. I think we have huge potential to be able to do great things. It's just whether they act on it. We gave the Republicans the opportunity of a lifetime on a golden platter where the Democrats have a super minority at the federal level. They have literally no governorships. They have literally no state legislatures. They can't really build up whole any walls. Now's the time for the Republicans and conservatives to do what they promised they were going to do. And if they don't do it, then I don't see the Republicans having any power for a very long time after this. So they better act on it. But you can hear me on 1480 AM, 102.5 FM, KQAM down here in Wichita. I'm doing the morning show, 6 to 9 every morning, and it's a great time, and I love being able to chat with you guys.
Israel, give us your thoughts on this evening and everything else.
Man, as always, man, Todd, Ross, Andy, Jiggy, thanks for having me, man. I think that our show needs to be bigger. I don't know what we got to do that, you know what I mean? But thanks to Access for giving us this platform, man, to really get some ideas out and talk, you know what I mean? And I'm kind of 50-50 on where the country is going, but somehow it always turns out right. I just hope it does this time. But I'm not rooting against anybody. I wouldn't root against the home team, regardless to what issues we've had. You know, we're still here, and
Yep.
Yeah, that's that. But check me out at iz316.com. I got some new music coming out, new videos too, and Andy's going to have me on the show.
Ross.
Absolutely.
Andy, I couldn't agree more with you on your summation. I
didn't see that coming, Ross.
What?
I didn't see that coming.
I hope the best for the country and that we're going in the right direction. Republicans, yes, don't blow it. You've got it right now. Do the right thing, don't blow it. Because you're right. If they do, it'll be a nightmare world of like Todd Pittenger and 25% taxes.
Wow.
And, just it's good for the community and things like that. And it'll be like a nightmare. It'll be like Hillary Clinton. So
That sounds like David Norland. It doesn't sound like Todd Pittenger.
Now, for the record,
yes.
I am a registered Republican, more of a moderate than anything, and I want to say I'm going to disagree. Too much power one way or the other is not a good thing. That's why we have a system of checks and balances. One of the first things I learned in democracy, we've got a legislative branch, we've got an executive branch, we've got a judicial branch, and the fourth branch, me and Andy, we're the media, and not all of us are fake media.
That's right.
Not all of us give alternative facts. So all of us have a responsibility, and again, too much power one way or the other is not a good thing. That's why our forefathers did the right thing in giving us a system of checks and balances.
Yes.
That way we don't have a king or a dictator here in this country.
Now,
Amen.
Ross, the website, rosslong.info,
Yeah.
correct?
rosslong.info. Look at my most recent videos. I'll get something up there real soon. It'll be cool.
We worked on an Elvis, I don't know what the heck it is, a mannequin challenge or something that I think Ross is going to put up there at some
get
point.
that going. I had to reinitialize a computer, so you know how that can be.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, Todd, where can we catch you with
Newscast
all the
daily,
changes in radio?
Right, KSAL Radio here in Salina. We're now part of the Rocking M Media Network, so we have 29 radio stations
Jesus.
throughout Kansas, mainly in central and western Kansas. Soon, probably by the time we do this next show, I'll be doing newscasts 3 daily on 29
Awesome.
radio stations in Kansas and online as well, so stay tuned for that. You can find it all on KSAL.com, also on the radio show 4 to 5 in the afternoon.
Fantastic. Well,
Hey, it's Black History Month. Don't you guys forget it. Go look up somebody. Go listen to like a Stokely Carmichael speech or maybe Angela Davis, something like that.
well, thanks to you guys, and we will be back live on Access on March 9th to talk to Ed O'Malley, and he will be in
Hey,
studio.
baby.
So we'll talk about how to
Been a
fix
great show.
Kansas.
Thank you, Access, and all the people that made it happen on their end. Thank you.
They even made you look good, Jiggy.
Yes, yes, they do. Well, that's live from Salina. Check out salinatv.org for more information, and we'll see you on March 9th.